Are you trying to figure out what to eat for dinner yet again? With Knorr sides and bouillon, you can whip up delicious and nutritious weeknight dinners in no time.
Yes, I am the biggest fan of Knorr bouillon and of Knorr taste combos. Knorr taste combos are a menu of delicious, affordable, and well-balanced meals that you can prepare at home in 30 minutes or less. Knorr is the not-so-secret ingredient, from its bouillon to its rice and pasta sides that brings major flavor to delicious home-cooked meals. Visit Knorr.com to make your own delicious taste combo. It's not fast food, but it's so good. One thing that can be really frustrating as a parent is you see your child struggling with a specific subject. They need help with their homework, or maybe they're asking questions on their homework that, you as a parent do not feel equipped to answer. IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed to help them really understand and master topics in a fun way with positive feedback. I remember how much Eleanor struggled with math, and I was not able to help her, and having IXL would have really, really benefited her.
If your child is struggling, this is the smartest investment you can make. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Happier listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/happier. Visit IXL.com/happier to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Hello, we are here for More Happier, a podcast where we get more happier. It's the weekend. It's a looser vibe. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi, Gretch.
This week, we'll talk about some things that keep us calm, and we'll also talk about some of our favorite TV moments. But first, Elizabeth, what is something making you more happier?
Well, Gretch, I have to say, I am absolutely loving that it is summer and I do not have the morning rush to school. Now, yes, Jack has various activities this summer, but he also has weeks where he's just lounging at home. Mm-hmm. And I just love being able to get up on my own time. I still get up early, but then I don't have the pressure of knowing I have to get him up and drag him out of bed.
Yeah.
And I am just loving the just looseness of summer.
During the week, that countdown to walking out the door can get very, very stressful.
Yeah. And then it allows me more of an ability if I want to exercise in the morning, I can do that. Sometimes I can't, but more often I can. So I just feel like I have all this freedom. And I love sitting outside. It's warm. I take my coffee outside. I have the dogs and I do my Wordle and the crossword, and it's just lovely.
Well, one thing I've been meaning to ask you is I remember that for a while in Los Angeles, the traffic going to school in the morning was better because post-pandemic, the traffic patterns had changed. Was it still better, or has it gotten just the way it was before?
So it's better. It has never gotten as bad as it was pre-pandemic, but it had gotten close to that. And so I'm also enjoying summer traffic right now.
Right.
So to get anywhere takes, sometimes half the time. It can really make a difference.
Yeah.
So I love that. For instance, I go to the strength training, and whereas I try to leave at 8:15, I can leave at 8:30 and still be early.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm loving the summer. It is quite hot, but in the mornings and the late afternoons, it's nice.
Yeah.
Now, how about you? What's making you more happier?
Well, this is also something that's contributing to my calm, and that's the quiet airport. And I was thinking about this because when I was in Japan, I noticed how, in Tokyo, it's just quieter on the street. There's less honking. And I think, one thing, there's less music playing. It's just less noisy. And that made me start thinking about how much I appreciate this quiet airport movement.
So I have never heard of this, Gretchen.
Yeah.
I back up because I've never heard of a quiet airport.
Okay. So it may be that the only quiet airport I've been into, official quiet airport that I've been into, is in San Francisco. And it's got signs everywhere. So I looked it up, and what it is that certain airports are trying to reduce auditory clutter. And, I always say, like, just like you have to clear clutter, you need to clear clatter and bring down just the noise of life. So what they do is they have no continuous announcements. They don't have stereo systems playing at boarding gates. They limit paging to the relevant area only. Because, in some airports, they're announcing flights all over the place. And there'll be multiple ones at the same time, so you can't hear anything. Because I guess a lot of people had been complaining about how noisy it was. And it's noticeable. And it just made me realize that it's just nice when there isn't just a lot of unnecessary noise blaring out.
Yeah.
I have to say I am not a fan of music playing. Like when you get on an airport, a lot of times there's music playing. Or you're in a store and the music's just too loud. I'm turning into one of those people who's always like, oh, there's all this noise. But I am turning into that person. So I applaud the quiet airport movement, and I hope more airports will do it.
Yeah, it reminds me of being in Las Vegas, and when you're in a casino, it is just so loud. And then you walk outside, and it feels like a different air pressure or something.
Yeah. No, it does.
It's such a stark contrast, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I can think again.
Yeah. No, that's got to be why they do that, right? It's just to befuddle your senses.
Yes.
So anyway, these are two things that are contributing to our calm, Melissa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very enjoyable. All right, Gretch, coming up, we're going to discuss some quality screen time. But first, this break. Whenever I'm gearing up for my next trip, deciding what to pack is always so stressful. The clothes I have either don't fit, are worn out, or just don't match. But then I discovered Quince. It's my go-to for high-quality vacation essentials I'll be packing for trips to come. Gretchen, I'm always looking for the perfect t-shirt. Yeah. I am so into right now Quince's organic cotton slub crew neck tees. I got black and white to take on our trip to England. They are the perfect tee.
The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/Gretchen for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Gretchen to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gretchen.
Raise your hand if you are burnt out.
If email is something that gives you like a shiver in your spine.
You are not alone. I'm Shirley Leung, host of Say More from the Boston Globe. Our new series is Beating Burnout. We'll hear from Cal Newport, Krista Tibbett, and more. We'll talk about breaking bad habits and forming new ones.
The cure for burnout is all of us caring for each other.
Say More from the Boston Globe. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, Elizabeth, quality screen time. Here's a question that I've been meaning to ask you. If you had to pick one of your favorite moments from your favorite TV show, what is it and why does it make you happy? Because I found that sometimes just reflecting on some of my favorite scenes is something that just, like I'm sitting in the dentist chair and I'll just think of one of my favorite scenes and it'll just make me happy and kind of occupy my mind in a happy way. So I'm just curious what you would pick.
Well, Gretch, I know I've mentioned this episode before and this series ending, but I have to mention it again.
Oh, see, I thought that's what you were going to pick. Okay, and you did pick it. Okay.
The end of Mad Men. So the very end of Mad Men is Don Draper. John Hamm is at a retreat in California, very hippie retreat, and he's doing yoga and he's, being very serious. And suddenly he smiles. Yeah. And they cut to the real, very iconic, famous Coca-Cola ad of everybody singing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing."
Yes.
I think it might be called something different, but that's how I think of it. And the whole season, Don has been struggling with his inner demons, but also dealing with this Coke campaign. And what is the Coke ad going to be? And so they cut to the real ad. It brings together the entire series. And you see how everything he's done and even gotten to this very yoga class has led him to come up with the greatest campaign of all time.
Yes.
And not only, I still get chills when I think about it.
Yes.
Not only that, but it allows you to understand how almost every other character's life went after it. Just you could imagine, okay, he used Joan to produce these ads. Peggy was the creative director. It just gave this great hope to the end of the series, which many times didn't have hope or was dark.
Yes.
And it was just so beautifully conceived and executed that it brings me great joy every time I think about it, which is often, and I go back and watch it because I love it so much.
Well, also, I think you and I are both so interested in the creative process, and part of it is you see how his mind has pulled the braids off of the receptionist, and or it wasn't there sort of like a crisscross design on a dress, or like there are all these little things where you just see how he's just been snatching little bits and pieces and combining them in his imagination to come up with this. And so it's partly all these questions that he's been asking for people in conversations and trying to understand the kind of the mood of the country and all that. You don't even know that that's what he's doing.
Yes.
But then when you do the ad, you're like, that is, he didn't even know that that's what he's doing.
Yes. And one could say this is very cynical that he went through this whole journey of self-discovery only to come up with a Coke ad.
But that's so Don Draper.
But that's who he is.
Yes.
It's a perfect manifestation of Don Draper. Also, Gretch, you and I both share a love of Diet Coke. So I also think that it's just a brand that I love. And so I enjoy seeing everything come together with Coca-Cola.
Wait, and I have to mention another moment of Mad Men that I just, you know, sometimes you think of a scene and you just go watch that scene on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where it's explaining how Peggy and Dawn come up with the idea of a telegram? And one of their coworkers, we talk about this all the time, how horrible it is if you have a great idea and you forget to write it down and then it's lost. So that happens to him. And he's bemoaning that and they're talking about it. And then Peggy says, well, it just makes me think you make a phone call and it's gone, but a telegram is forever. And then she looks at Don and Don looks at her and he goes, you can't frame a phone call.
Oh.
And the coworker looks at them like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And you have this moment of deep intellectual connection between Peggy and Dawn. And it's like such a cool thing.
So satisfying.
So satisfying.
How about you, Gretch?
One of my very favorite moments in one of my very favorite TV shows is Wordless. It's part of what's powerful about it is that there are no words spoken. So this is in the office, of course. And it's very late in the show, and the character of Angela, who's a super uptight upholder, has fallen into hard times, and her life is in complete disarray, and she's been kicked out of her apartment, where she has like all of her huge number of cats, plus also her child, which she mentions sort of as a PS. Yes, my son. And so her coworker is Oscar, and she and Oscar have fought a lot. She's been really mean to him because she's sort of a really mean person, and he's exasperated with her because just gets exasperated. And he says to her, why don't you come stay with me? Not forever, you know, just for a little while. And she looks at him and they go back and forth. And then she just reaches out and puts her hand over his hand. And then she kind of nods and he says, okay, like, let's get your stuff. Let's go get your stuff. And it's so unlike Angela to have this moment of silent connection. It's so unlike her to reach out in this tender way. And they just have this moment where, again, like both characters, it's like all their history is in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's fleeting, but it's just so beautiful. And sometimes I'll just go back and watch that scene because I love it so much.
Well, it's funny you say that the nonverbal part of that is what you love so much, because I feel like The Office is actually known for doing a lot without dialogue. I think it's known for its looks.
Oh, yeah.
Pam looking from the receptionist desk at Jim and then acknowledging how nutty something is.
Yeah.
Or somebody watching somebody else because they have that big bullpen.
Yes.
Looks
Yes.
around the bullpen can be very significant.
No, it's really, really true. Okay, listen, there's one more scene that I've been watching over and over again on YouTube. And here's a spoiler, Game of Thrones spoiler. So anybody who hasn't watched Game of Thrones, do not listen to this. But do you remember that scene where you think that the sister Sansa is like deeply distrusting of her sister Arya. And Peter Baelish has kind of set them against each other. And there's this big moment where they're all gathered in the Great Hall. And you think it's going to be this big showdown between the sisters. And Sansa says, "You stand accused of murder. You stand accused of treason. How do you answer these charges, Lord Baelish?" And they all look at Peter Baelish and he's like, "Wait, what?" Because I thought this was Arya that was going to go down. And you realize that the two sisters have been in cahoots and he's going to get what he deserves. And it's so delicious.
Yes, I love that moment. And again, I think it's because despite whatever tensions and frustrations there have been between the two sisters,
Yes.
it's like a moment of connection,
Yes.
just like Oscar and Angela have
Yes.
this moment of connection.
Yes, that's what's so satisfying about it. Exactly.
Well, Gretch, since we're talking about quality screen time and it is summer, I just thought I would throw in a bonus suggestion of something entertaining to watch.
Ooh, what?
That is
What?
on right now. Gretchen, I'm watching Presumed Innocent on Apple TV. It's starring Jake Gyllenhaal, based on a huge best-selling book. And it's just really well done. And it's a very taut mystery. So I think people will enjoy it for some summer viewing.
Okay, but so Liz, I have to ask you, because of the title, this makes me suspicious. You know how I have my thing about unjust accusation, and I will not watch anything that has a theme of unjust accusation. Is there a theme of unjust accusation?
Well, yes and no. I mean, like many movies like this, you don't know if it's just or unjust.
Okay. All right.
You know that he says he's innocent.
Right.
Is he? You don't know.
All right.
So depends on how you view that.
That sounds good. All right. Okay. Presumed innocent. Excellent.
Now, what's our spotlight on a tool this week?
Okay. So it's the summer, and if you need a shortcut to having fun, doing something creative, getting more comfort or adventure, consider taking the quick, free, super fun, What's Your Neglected Sense quiz. This quiz tells what is each person's most neglected sense, which is a super fun thing to know because then you have all this low-hanging fruit of things to explore. And I have to say, it's a really fun quiz to take. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles, so it's fun to take. And it's at GretchenRubin.com/quiz.
Yes, ours is both taste, as we have discussed.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Gretch, coming up, there's something you've been meaning to ask me, but first, this break.
Look, I'll be honest. I thought I'd heard enough celebrity interview shows to last a lifetime. They are usually just so expected and bland. That's exactly why NPR's newest show, Wild Card, sticks out so much. It's got huge thinkers, actors, and stars, sure, but it gets at what's weird about being alive in a way that I haven't heard done before. Wild Card is sort of like an existential game show where a deck of cards controls a conversation and the conversation feels like a party game. What I love about the show is I love that it's so surprising. You never know what's going to come next. The guest doesn't know what's going to come next. The interviewer doesn't know what's going to come next. And I love that. I love the gamified quality of it, the randomness of it.
You'll hear things like Jack Antonoff describing why boredom works, Jenny Slate on salad dressing, and Issa Rae on the secret to creativity. Wildcard comes out every Thursday from NPR. Listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. I absolutely love summer, and nothing says summer to me, Gretch, like eating outside.
Yes.
I love having friends over in the summer, and when I eat outside, I know that I need to get the things for my table from Wayfair.
Yeah.
Wayfair has such an amazing selection of home goods. I love the certified international melamine dinner plates. They come in so many fun colors. Then I can also get napkins to go with them. I can create a whole tablescape. And you know I love a great tablescape.
Yeah, I do.
Wayfair is the go-to destination for everything home, no matter your style or budget. Make your home a summer staycation destination for sun, fun, and relaxation. Find everything you need to summer your way at Wayfair. Visit wayfair.com or get the Wayfair mobile app. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. This show is sponsored by MIDI Health. There are great things that come with age, wisdom, experience, a love of gardening and holiday decorations, to name just a few. But if you're a woman over 40, it can also bring some less desirable things. Hot flashes, insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, and weight gain. All symptoms of menopause and perimenopause. I have friends of all ages, and I have been hearing about these symptoms for years.
Yes, hormonal transition is a fact of life, but that doesn't mean you have to accept its symptoms as just another part of aging. MIDI clinicians are menopause experts equipped to support you with safe, effective, FDA-approved medications, as well as lifestyle coaching and preventative health guidance. All their services are covered by insurance, and they're conveniently accessible through telehealth visits and 24/7 messaging. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com.
Okay, listen, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. So in New York City, one of the things that I love is people are out in public, totally unselfconsciously doing stuff. They're doing exercise or sword fights in Central Park. Or they're in the Met and they're like all dressed up and they're getting their photo taken. Or they're like shooting an indie movie in some corner. Or there's like a huge movie being shot, or like Succession was being shot in my neighborhood and there's giant trailers and people running around. There's just people doing their stuff out and about, and they don't care that everybody else is walking by. And I love that. And I was just wondering, you're in LA. Does that happen in Los Angeles?
Yes, it happens a lot. So, of course, there's a ton of filming, right?
Yeah.
So in my neighborhood, very often there's something filming. So there will be those big trucks. There'll be off-duty police officers directing traffic. There will be PAs walking about. You can see catering. So that happens all the time.
So what is it about your neighborhood? Why are they in your neighborhood particularly?
Well, I think they're probably in every neighborhood. It just happens to be that I'm in my neighborhood, so that's where I see them. But I know my sister-in-law, Michelle, she has one of the most photographed streets, I think, in LA because it has beautiful trees. So car ads shoot there all the time. This Is Us used the house across the street from her as its exterior. A beautiful craftsman. So she would actually have people, they'd rent her driveway or her house to use as, like a holding place for actors and things like that. So I see a lot of shooting. The other thing that we do see a lot of is people doing photo shoots for their headshots. So you'll see people in very skimpy outfits or, with their hair all done, striking a pose and having a friend shoot them. I even one time was hiking up at the top of Mulholland, very hot, dry, fire weather, and my friend and I saw somebody who had actually brought lights with them.
Wow.
And we were concerned about a fire starting. So we were keeping our eye on that because it just didn't seem like a good idea to have these hot lights out in this crackling fire weather.
Yeah.
Another thing I see, Gretchen, which isn't exactly what you're talking about, but it's kind of an offshoot of it, is people standing in front of Michael Jackson's childhood home compound. So Michael Jackson grew up in Encino. All of the Jacksons did. I think they still own the house, but it's right by Ventura Boulevard, across from our Gelsons. And there is a gate in front of it. People come and they just want to stand there and see the house and get their photo taken. So I see people there, not every day, but certainly every week. Anyway, I see it because it's across from my grocery store.
That's interesting. I like it. I mean, I've done strange things in public myself, and I take comfort in the fact that people do this all the time, and people just kind of walk on by and don't make a fuss, and it's fine. And I kind of get a kick out of seeing what people are up to. They'll be getting married in Central Park. There's a place near the sort of lake. I think it's called something like the Ladies' Tea House or something like. It's sort of like a gazebo. And there very frequently will be people getting married there, and there's tourists walking by. And I like it. I like that people feel comfortable doing these things out in public. And it makes me feel that people are creative. I enjoy that.
I do too. And you saying that, Gretchen, reminds me of when Mom and Dad were in India and they saw a wedding procession and they were invited in to observe the wedding, which they did.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Love to come upon a wedding. Nothing
Yes.
better than that.
Yes.
All right, Gretchen, what is our quotation this week?
This comes from the notebooks of Samuel Butler. He wrote, "Happiness and misery consist in a progression towards better or worse. It does not matter how high up or low down you are. It depends not on this, but on the direction in which you are tending."
Samuel Butler always has something interesting to say.
So Elizabeth, are you feeling more happier?
Yes, I am feeling more happier. Thank you to Chuck. Get in touch. Gretchen's on Threads, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Gretchen Rubin, and I'm on Threads and Instagram at Liz Craft. Our email address is podcast@GretchenRubin.com. And for everything related to this episode, links, photos, and more, go to happiercast.com. Bye, Gretch.
Bye, Elizabeth. The best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. Second best time is now.
You know what, though, Gretchen? No matter how long I'm in LA and how long I've been in the business, I'm always too shy to ask what is being filmed.
Oh, why? That surprises me. I'll ask that.
I don't know. I feel very shy about it. I never ask.
Oh, well, a lot of times in New York, they'll have signs posted to say why you can't park.
Yeah.
And it will tell you what it is, so you can sometimes go look at a sign. But I
Yes,
will
although
ask.
our signs are often in code, so you don't know what it means.
I've seen that because, and just like that, the
Yes.
Sex and the City, that was on our street and it was in code and they were very reluctant. But when they were actually doing it, they finally said what it was.
Oh, yeah. Okay, next time I'll ask. I'll get up my courage.
From the Onward Project.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
Yes, goal.
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.